I don't know why the RPOs don't work. I mean, that's what he ran at Oklahoma. He's got guys that can run it here. I mean, I figured you run Devonta Smith on a slant, and you
Yeah.
can't get 6 yards, 7 yards a pop. That just is incomprehensible to me.
Next 5. Vegas, at Detroit, home Chargers, at Denver, home New Orleans. For me, they got to go 3-2. Out of those 5 games, they have to find a way to go 3-2. They'll still be below 500 going into those last 5 by 1 game. But those are an easy 5 that you should be able to go well over 500. Who are the 3 wins? We thank you for that. A Football Friday. For that, we bring in an esteemed colleague. He's only been doing this for years. And wait, what is this? I understand. You're going to be working with John McMullen going forward, Damo?
Yeah, that's a bad turn for Damo.
Us old guys have to stick together.
Yeah, that's true.
Who twisted your arm to do this?
I twisted Damo's arm. I figured I saw he's writing for the 33rd team. So, we had Mike Tannenbaum on the show, Joe Banner, obviously involved. So I said, oh, Damo's doing some stuff. So let me ask him. And he had that great stats package for the Inquirer all those years on Fridays, which I thought. So now it's going to be on Philly Mag. I'm excited. Eagles Report Philly Mag. So everyone can check that out.
Yeah, retirement has not been what I expected.
No retirement.
My plan was, going to focus on writing a book and take it easy and wake up late. And now I'm writing 5 days a week and it's on hold.
Well, you got to say no. You could have said no, Dom.
Well, I could have, but I didn't want to. So I think, I'm looking forward to working with you, John.
It is exciting. But all right, let's shift gears to the Eagles. That's the most important part of this. So Las Vegas Raiders, for once, Damo, I'm the optimistic one. I think this is a winnable game. I'm not in love with the Raiders. They've done some nice things, but obviously they're going through some difficulties, some uncharted waters with what's going on with John Gruden. The Eagles have certainly not looked good, but I see this as at least a winnable game. I don't expect them to win, but I think it's more of a Carolina-San Francisco game than Tampa Bay, Kansas City, Dallas, where you kind of knew, all right, they're probably not going to win this game. Am I wrong? Can they beat this Raiders team?
I agree. I completely agree. I think it's very winnable, and I think the fact that the line is so small kind of tells you that the gamblers and the bettors think so. I'm not a big. I mean, the Raiders can't run the ball. I'm not a big Derek Carr fan. He can be hot. He can be cold. They've had a lot of success with the deep ball this year, but that's the one thing the Eagles aren't going to give up on Sunday because they got those safeties playing back, by the 700 level or whatever the
Allegiant Stadium, whatever they're.
So So I mean, it takes away what they can do. I mean, what the Raiders are not very good at is stopping the run, and so this is going to require a commitment by Nick Sirianni to run the ball, which he has not been willing to do yet. We'll see if that happens on Sunday. I think it would help if they don't fall behind early and he feels a need to start putting the ball up. But, it's very winnable.
All right, Damo, this should be fun. We're going to do a little role play here. And with the coin flip, it is heads, Eagles. Your choice. What does Nick Sirianni do?
He kicks.
He defers, like always. Why do teams always defer? Why wouldn't you want to take the ball and go, we're going to run it down your throats, Raiders, on your field, on your house? How about a little aggression here, head coach, rather than go, we'll get the ball start the second half. John and I debated this last week, and wasn't a debate, but we both kind of questioned the Eagles that if they win the coin flip, should they or shouldn't they defer? They won the coin flip, and they deferred. Of course they did, and they lost the game. I say you win the coin flip, take the ball, Damo.
Well, with this team, I think you do because the defense has given up first possession touchdowns just about every game, or at least points every game on first possession, which kind of takes away what you're trying to accomplish by deferring and getting some momentum and then giving the ball to the offense. So, but I think Nick's set in his ways when it comes to this. I'd be surprised if that changes.
Yeah, it's interesting because, Damo, before you came on, we were talking about linebackers and Jody wanting them to put more emphasis on that position, which they should, but they're never going to be a team that goes all in at that position, paid big money for that position. They'd like to be, and you talk to Joe Banner a lot, and this really probably goes back to Joe, they'd like to be labeled as innovative. Yeah. But to me, they're very conventional. They go along with the current thought processes in the league. This is the way you should do things. It's quarterback. We all know it's quarterback. When a value of a position, then it's edge rusher, build on the offensive, defensive line. Why aren't they more malleable if they want to be considered innovative?
Yeah. Well, I mean, with Schwartz, it's ironic because early in his career, linebackers were, those big inside linebackers were a big part of his scheme. When he got to Philadelphia, I don't know if it's because he was working with. I mean, he just found a way to be successful without particularly good linebackers or semi-successful. They can be better. This group can be better than they've shown. I think the defense has made them look. The scheme has made them look. I mean, look at Alex Singleton. Last year, he was a very serviceable player last year. He was, he attacked. He was comfortable in Schwartz's scheme. This year, I mean, it's been hard to watch the last several weeks. I mean, I made the comment on Twitter that watching their linebackers make tackles reminded me of a cowboy western where the horse is dragging the rider on the ground. I mean, that's pretty much what it's been, because Alex Singleton's not a guy that's going to, meet somebody in the hole and bring him down. I mean, that's not his, and stop him for no gain. That's not his shtick. I think Howie's plan linebacker wise was, okay, well, we'll draft some, I'm going to find some fast guys and like Davion Taylor and they're going to surprise people. And that's how, and we got a whole rookie contract where we don't have to pay him. So we're still able to spend money elsewhere. Davion Taylor, he's starting to make a couple plays at least, but he's still not a very good player and very raw. It'll be interesting next year with Howie, because the cap goes up so much. You can do whatever you want. They've got Carson Wentz off the books. So, I mean, they can, that's when we'll find out what they really think of the linebacker position, or how much they feel they need to bring in somebody better than Eric Wilson to deal with that position, because they'll be able to pay him.
Well, they'll also be able to put some money into the defensive end position, because Derek Barnett, I believe, will not be back here. They've already made the commitment to Josh Sweat and signed him to a contract extension. I think a fair market contract extension, not a team-friendly deal, not an, oh, my God, they knew they were going to have to compete. They paid what they had to pay above and beyond to keep him. I thought a fair market deal. They're going to make another play for a defensive end with not knowing what Brandon Graham is going to be able to come back at. If they've got a big play in them to spend big bucks and get a top-of-the-line player in the league, is there a chance at the end in your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. Both in the draft and free agency next year. I mean, let's assume Jalen Hurts convinces them he's the quarterback of the future. Then you've got 3 picks. I think one of the high priorities in the draft next year, if that's the case, would be an edge rusher. I don't know. I haven't really checked the class. I know there's some good ones out there. So, and plus, it's not just the edge rusher. I mean, Fletcher Cox has got, he may not be playing with this team after this year. So defensive tackle is a situation you got to deal with, especially, with the fronts they're using, a lot of 3-man fronts. You got to find a bigger guy. It'll be interesting, but that the defensive line is going to have to be remade for the most part.
Well, Damo, I mean, everything, we're getting ahead of ourselves when we talk about the draft. Everything about this season is about figuring out if you have the quarterback.
Right.
We have a 6-game sample size now. I don't know. Do you know? Where are you? I don't know what they have in Jalen Hurts. And isn't that the biggest problem of all? And I guess my question is, are they running an offense that enables you to evaluate the quarterback properly? And if not, why aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I started the season believing this guy would prove to them that he's the guy. There have been times when I've thought that, and then there's games like last week where you just scratch your head. His decision making is very slow. Particularly on the deep ball, he's late on a lot of those deep balls, which have hurt. Although some of them have resulted, because he's been late with them, they've resulted in passing calls. So I guess that's helped. But he doesn't throw very well from the pocket. When he extends a play, he doesn't seem to keep his eyes down the field, because, I mean, I have yet to, every time he bolts for the sideline, he's right on the sideline before he finally gets rid of the ball. Now you got Devonta Smith out there. I just cannot believe he can't shake open and get open where these two can kind of combine on some of the, on some of these kind of plays. But it hasn't been happening. I love the running that he brings to the position. I mean, he's got 5 touchdowns. Only Lamar Jackson has more rushing first downs. But as nice as that is to have, if he cannot throw the ball and get first downs that way, you can't go forward believing he's the guy. So right now I'm still up in the air, guys.
Domo, I want you to go with me here. If you don't want to, say, Jody, get lost. But I really want you to go with me here. Lane Johnson just coming back, missed a couple of weeks, had issues. We know what kind of an important role he plays on this team. Brandon Brooks done for the season. Isaac Seumalo out for the season. Eagles relatively young along the offensive line. A veteran really needs to step up on this team. And they've got one who not only is a phenomenal player, but a leader and a guy who, when he needs to, can craft a statement like nobody's business, like he did for Ben Simmons yesterday. You know who I'm referring to, Jason Kelce. What's the chance that Jason Kelce, when they got back from their mini vacation, coaches were working 24/7, texting each other with great ideas on games they were seeing on TV. But the players got to take some downtime. Eventually, the coaches and players got back together at practice. What's the chance that Jason Kelce gets Nick Sirianni alone in a room and says, let's run the effing ball? What the hell are we doing here? I know every offensive lineman on the planet would rather run block than pass block. They all do. Everyone does. Is there any chance Jason Kelce tells the play caller for the Philadelphia Eagles, a.k.a. his head coach, let's run the effing ball?
I think that absolutely probably happened, Jody. Jason's maybe in his last year here, maybe his next to last year, but time's running out, and he knows they need to run the ball more. He knows they can run the ball, especially with Lane back. So, there's no reason he wouldn't hesitate to knock on the door, or my guess is Nick's door is always open. Went in and told him, let's run the damn ball. Now we'll find out if he does.
I hope that's what we see. That gives him a chance to win. If I knew that for sure, I'd be more optimistic about this game. I don't, and that's why I don't think the Eagles are going to win.
Well, the Eagles are, and this is what's so strange to me, Damo, and I don't know if this is still the case. You might know. The Eagles were number 1 in this league in explosive plays in the running game. Now, it's all because of the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So it's unconventional, obviously. They're not turning the football. They're not under center, turning around, handing the football to the running back. But they generated explosive plays in the running game. Now, in the passing game, the stat that troubles me is 208 throws, I think 6 of them in between the hash marks. And you have Zach Ertz at the time, obviously gone now. You have Dallas Goedert. You have Kenny Gainwell, who can run those angle routes. You have Miles Sanders, who can do some things in the passing game, although he's inconsistent. That's like, I can't figure out this offense. I can't figure out what they're trying to accomplish. I said before you came on, I can at least figure out what Jonathan Gannon is trying to accomplish. It might not be pretty, but I get what he's trying to do. I can't explain what Nick Sirianni is trying to do offensively. Can you explain it?
Well, I mean, he's admitted several times that he's never really had much experience at coaching a quarterback like this. I mean, most of his quarterbacks have been, Phillip Rivers types. So I think that plays into it a little bit. He's still trying to learn how to use this guy. I think Jalen's inconsistency, I think they keep from week to week trying to figure out the best way to make him successful. And it's, I don't know why the RPOs don't work. I mean, that's what he ran at Oklahoma. He's got guys that can run it here. I mean, I figured you run Devonta Smith on a slant and you can't get 6 yards, 7 yards a pop. That just is incomprehensible to me. And then it opens up the run game. So I don't know what's going on. I thought Brian Johnson would help all of this because of his background, not only with Jalen, but with these kind of offenses that were Brian was a running quarterback, a read option quarterback himself years ago at Utah, and has coached it along the way, that offense. So, I don't know. I'm assuming he's got input, a lot of it. I'm thinking just one day we're going to wake up on a Sunday and everything's going to work, and you're going to say, "Wow!" But we're here. We're entering week 7. And it's still, very scattershot. So I don't know.
On the offensive line, you get Lane Johnson back, which is huge, which means they get to move Driscoll back inside, where I think he did a good job for the 1 week he played before Lane went down. And, of course, they got Dickerson on the other side. This should be a good offensive line, which means they should be able to run the football. And I would take the ball to begin with. Win the coin toss, take the ball, try and run the ball before you fall behind, because I think Nick Sirianni always falls prey to, we're losing, we got to throw it 75% of the time. Will the Eagles, if they choose to run the ball this week, we'll start with that assumption. If that's the case, will they run it effectively, Dama?
If they run, they should be able to run it effectively. The Raiders are not very good at stopping the run. I think they're giving up like 4.6 yards a pop. People like Austin, the Chargers running back.
Austin Eckler.
A lot of guys have had success against them. So, the key is going to be they need to stay with the Raiders. They can't turn this into another, we're down 14-0, and we got to play catch up again, because that's when you're going to see the run disappear. Which plays into why you should want them to get the ball at the beginning and just drive on the field with the run. But they should be able to do it against the Raiders.
Now, everybody likes to play from the lead in this league, Dom. It was just easier to play when you had the lead, but it does seem to be more paramount for this particular team. I mean, they're not equipped to come back from 2-score deficits,
right?
Because they can't throw the football from the pocket, at least consistently. From the standpoint of arm strength, I think that's been overrated with Jalen Hurts. I think you're right when you say he's late on those deep throws. I mean, we saw the Hail Mary. Was it Baker Mayfield's Hail Mary? Yeah. Whichever went 65. Like, who throws the ball 70 yards in this league? I mean, who cares? Aaron Rodgers can get it there. But if you get the ball out on time, Jalen Hurts has plenty of arm. So is it just anticipation? Is it just trusting what he sees? Is it just, the natural evolution of a young quarterback?
Yeah.
Is there a possibility for improvement?
I think there is, John. You're right. I don't think it's arm strength with him. It's touch. It's timing. He's got enough arm strength to make all the throws, including the deep ball. He's made, he's underthrown a lot of balls, but I don't think it's because he was late with it. I don't know. I mean, he's just not. He doesn't seem right now. Still doesn't seem comfortable, and as far as his recognition skills in the pocket, he doesn't move around in the pocket nearly as well as even you watch. I mean, this is a bad comparison because the guy's the greatest quarterback of all time, but Tom Brady, doesn't have third of the speed this guy does, but he knows how to feel pressure. Knows when he needs to climb the pocket. He's still learning that because he never had to do it before. At Oklahoma, at Alabama, got the ball, first read, it's out. Now it's different. That first read's taken away, and he's got to be patient. He's got to understand what he's doing back there. And I think the game is still – this is a smart kid, and I've always felt that coaches' kids are the best people to have as quarterbacks. But it's still – he's in his second year. This is his 11th start, 12th start?
Yeah, 11, yeah.
I think the game has not yet quite slowed down for him yet to the point where, we can make an accurate judgment on his true talent. So when that'll happen, if you're Nick Sirianni, you're sure hoping it's this week. I think it's happening a little bit at a time, but he's still very inconsistent, and that's what's troubling right now.
Now, your old colleague, before you jump in, Jody, I just want to follow up. Marcus Hayes, our buddy.
Yeah.
He went there. He went there this week. I guess you don't agree. Marcus was on the show when we have it. Was that yesterday, Jody? Everything runs together. He went there. I give him credit. Yeah. But, what are you going to bench Jalen Hurts for in Philadelphia right now?
Exactly. What purpose does that serve?
Yeah.
There none. And certainly Jalen hasn't played poorly enough for 4 quarters to convince you, even if you thought, okay, we still got a shot at the playoffs. And I'm sure they still believe that they can, with the games they've got, that they can at least be a 9-8 team. But yeah, there's, I love Marcus to death, but he's full of it with that. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Crunching Joe Flacco to the rescue. We shall see. I don't think Nick Sirianni sees it either. One of the reasons why I think the Eagles are going to lose by 2 scores on Sunday is the Raiders tight end. The over-under number on yards receiving for Darren Waller is 59.5. You taking the under or the over, Domo?
Probably the over. They're going to try and take away Ruggs and Edwards on the deep ball, which is, I believe Carr has thrown the most 20-plus pass plays in the league. So, you can't give them that. So that's going to open things up for Waller even more than usual. The key there, and the key as it was with Schwartz's defense, is you got to tackle them as soon as they catch the ball. There can be no yak. There can be no yards after the catch. And that's not happening this year, mainly because they're playing even farther back than usual, and they seem to be slow getting to receivers like Waller. But so I think he's going to get a lot of yards on Sunday. They just have to hope that they're not, backbreaking yards.
By the way, Tom, I've been asking everybody this week, do you remember when Baltimore was in here for joint practices and Darren Waller was a rookie receiver out of Georgia Tech, and he just beat the Eagles like a drum that day? I was like, who the hell is this kid? Who is this? And then all the years down the road, he changes into a tight end and he becomes a star.
Yeah.
I say that for this reason. Tyree Jackson, they started his 21-day window.
Mm-hmm.
Looks fine physically. The Eagles, Howie Roseman brought him up twice, and nobody asked him about him when he traded Zach Ertz at the press conference. So he did it on his own. Shane Steichen brought him up. Nick Sirianni brought him up. They really think they have something in Tyree Jackson.
Yeah, I was there with you this summer, John. Watched him in training camp, and I love the guy. He made some plays, including the play that he got hurt on. But he's huge, and he can do more than get in the way as a blocker, which is nice. I love Zach Ertz, but Zach Ertz could not block, and that's why he was expendable. Dallas Goedert's going to make mistakes, but he's one of the best inline tight ends in the league, and that can help your running game. And that's one reason why I think they can run this week. Getting him back against the Raiders gives them an extra blocker up front. So, but I think Jackson's going to be a terrific player. I think they're going to slowly, integrate him into the offense. We'll see more and more 12, I think, although they still favor 11. But, I mean, you can't let this guy just sit on the bench. So, I think he's going to be a terrific player, and I like what he brings to the table.
All right, Damo, I want to do a little schedule breakdown with you, if that's okay. Take a look at the Eagles, 6 games in, knew the beginning of the schedule, season start, going to be difficult, tough matchups. That's why they're 2-4. The tail end of the schedule, if you take Dallas and put them on hold, that different look 17th game, we all kind of screw it up talking about, well, if they go 8-8, well, they can't go 8-8 anymore. It's stupid because they play 17 games. So we'll put Dallas week 17 aside. You got 5 games here, and then you got the final 5 before you get to Dallas. Those final 5 are Washington twice, the Giants twice, and the Jets. That's slim pickings. And I know the Eagles are 2-4, but I think the Giants are worse. I think Washington's worse. They're very similar, but I'll give the Eagles a slight nod. And yes, painstakingly, I will say the Jets are worse. So these next 5 games are key. If you can make hay in those final 5 before Dallas, these next 5 are key. For me, for the Eagles to be in the thought process of potentially sneaking into the playoffs, which maybe some people want no part of, but I thought that every fan wanted to take a shot every year, but that's just me. Next 5, Vegas, at Detroit, home Chargers, at Denver, home New Orleans. For me, they got to go 3-2. Out of those 5 games, they have to find a way to go 3-2. They'll still be below 500 going into those last 5 by 1 game, but those are an easy 5 that you should be able to go well over 500. Who are the 3 wins? Vegas, Detroit, Chargers, Denver, Saints. If we're optimistically thinking they go 3-2 there, who they beating?
Well, I've got them winning Sunday. Close, but I've got them winning. I think they'll be. The Saints I don't think are as good as. Jameis Winston's going to come down to earth at some point here. I mean, I expected them to have an apocalyptical season. It hasn't happened, but so I mean, I think that's a game they win. They don't beat the Chargers. Detroit's the one that concerns me. One day they're going to have to show up and they're going to be like, okay, this is the day we win, and they're not as bad as they look.
No,
they are. Yeah,
I disagree. I'm with Damo. They got a 66-yard field goal from the greatest kicker of all time. They lost on that. Then they lost the next
kicker of all time is in Baltimore.
That's what I said. That's who beat
them.
Okay.
That's who they lost
66,
to, right. Okay.
66-yard field goal. Then the next week they lost on a 56-yard field goal at the buzzer. They've been in games, Jody. They got to win one. I guess Rod Marinelli didn't win one, so they don't have to win one.
No, they don't. They find ways to lose, and they'll do the same against the Eagles, and a week and change from now. They're a losing franchise.
But Damo's right in the fact that they've been in games. They've had opportunities to win games.
Right. So I'm going to say Raiders. I'm going to say they win the next 2 weeks. They're going to beat the Lions, but it'll be close. They beat the Raiders on Sunday, and they beat the Saints, and they have a chance to go 4-1. It all comes down to the quarterback. I mean, if he gets his act together, they've got an explosive offense. It just and the defense is going to continue to play this bend but don't sort of break approach, but
bend but break.
bend but eventually break is what it is.
Yeah.
Yes. So, all right, let's go. Let's play this out for November 2nd. So say they beat the Raiders, they beat the Lions. I think the worst case scenario for this team is they talk themselves in it. Maybe we can make a run. And we're sellers at the trade deadline. We're buyers instead of sellers. And they're trying to bring in players. Damo, don't you think they have to be disciplined and say this is the transition year? Jeffrey Lurie said it was way back when he fired Doug Peterson. You can't get caught up in that stuff.
No, and I don't think they will because they're so looking forward to next year. And I know that, being a seller would add more draft picks to that. But who are you going to sell right now? I mean, nobody's going to take Fletcher Cox from you. I thought the guy that they might actually think of trading it before he started, before he had his problems, was Lane Johnson. And that's not going to happen now. So I don't know who you would trade that would get you anything but a 7th round pick. So I'm not sure why there's and I don't know who you'd want where you'd have to give up. They're not going to give up those 3 picks next year, or theoretically 3 picks in the first round. So I think they stand pat, play with what they got.
All right, if they go further seller rather than flip the script and go buyer, which is what I'm rooting for, which of the 2 corners, if they were to settle corner, they're not going to be able to trade Slay. His contract is just too big, my estimation. But right. Nelson's contract is up. Maddix's contract is up. Certainly Nelson outside guy, Maddix inside guy. But everybody in the NFL runs 3 wide receivers out there on every single play. So the importance of the slot corner has just risen over the last several years in this league. Which would they get a bigger draft pick for, Nelson or Maddix?
Well, definitely Maddix, but you don't want to get rid of him. I mean, I've liked Maddix as a slot guy since they drafted him. And in fact, I thought maybe they didn't move him to safety. I think John and I have had that discussion early on, and I was kind of in the minority on that. Probably still am. But when he made that play in the end zone, knocked that ball away, he won my heart for the rest of the year. That was a hell of a play.
The hell of a play. And they had 3 interceptions that day, and his play was actually the best athletic play of the entire game against Carolina.
Yeah. But he's the guy you could get something for. What are you going to get for Steve Nelson? A jock? I mean, come on.
All right, let's end it on some positivity, Domo, because Jody and I have foreshadowed. I think the Eagles have a chance to win the game, but I don't have them winning the game. You said you got them winning the game. Why do you have the Eagles beating the Las Vegas Raiders? No John Gruden, Rich Bisaccia, can't stop the run. What gives you that optimism?
I like – actually, I've known Rich for a long time, but I think last week's win over the Broncos was kind of an emotional – you didn't know what they were going to do with Gruden gone, a new coach. I think they rode that in a positive way last week, but it's that kind of emotion generally lasts 1 week. Now they're back to normal. They're back to being the Raiders that they were before that. And I just don't think they're a particularly good team. They've got a lot of flaws. They're, like I said, they're not going to get the deep ball against the Eagles. So they're going to have to run the ball, and maybe they can win that way. But I think the Eagles can run the ball, will run the ball this week. I think Hurts needs, they need to keep the takeaways down. They're not going to get many takeaways from the Raiders. I think they have the fewest in the league, like 4, all on Carr interceptions. But so that's why I think they can win. I don't think they're going to give – this is a game where if you don't give up the big – this kind of feeds into Gannon's philosophy. Don't give up the big play. Just make them work, and good things will happen. And that's why I think they'll win.
All right, several things we will not hear on the broadcast on Sunday. Jalen Hurts under center. The Eagles run the ball for the 3rd consecutive play.
Oh, you might hear that.
and the Eagles have won the toss and decided to receive. Those are 3 things we will not hear on the broadcast of the Eagles game this weekend. Sorry, I'm a pessimist. Every once in a while, you just got to call them the way you see them, and we did so. That's why we bring you on, Dom, because you call him the way you see him. A pleasure, buddy. My condolences for having to work with John McMullen. I know I do it, so got to suck it up and get that done. But looking forward to read both of you guys in Philly Mag. Dom will get you back in a couple of weeks. All right, brother?
Thanks, guys. Good talking to you.
Thanks, Tom.
Paul Domowitch, now a Philly Mag, doing work with John McMullen. And it's going to be a must-read for you Eagle guys, the same way it is for tuning in here to Birds 365. All right, we'll come back, put a bow on the show. I might shock you with my Eagle pick.
Whoa.
Not happening. So
Domo come back anyway. You. Come on.
Maybe McMullen will shock you. Maybe he'll flop. Maybe he's going to go Eagles.
Yeah.
Stay right here and find out.